Time now for another vlog. And yeah, I'm playing something a little different because about a month from now, when we do the next vlog, it'll probably be me driving around in free roam or free mode extreme for Mafia Definitive Edition. So I thought, hey, why not go back to Mafia the City of Lost Heaven for today's vlog? And by the way, if you want to check out previous vlogs, go to the vlogs playlist on my channel. And a lot of this vlog is going to be about my experiences over the past 5 days. Quite the way to wrap up August 2020. It feels like each month in 2020 has to try and outdo the previous month for suckage. It really does. I don't know why, but it's like each month just adds a little something more to this entire thing, where it makes it suck just a little bit more than the previous month. And I'm sure that there's good things that happen in every month, but there's also a lot of bad things. So, in case you were wondering, for the past 5 days, I have been without power. In fact, it was only a few hours ago that my power was finally restored. And the reason why is because a certain hurricane named Laura, you may have heard of her recently in the news, came up the Gulf of Mexico and basically hit the Texas-Louisiana border, devastating a lot of things and towns and cities in her wake. In the south of Louisiana, a town called Lake Charles was badly damaged, and a lot of other towns in between there and where I live in northwest Louisiana were also damaged. A lot of people lost their homes, some people lost their lives, and a lot of folks were without power, including myself, starting Thursday morning. So it was like, what, before 5 a.m. Thursday morning until this morning, Monday, August 31st, 2020. Hard to believe August is almost gone. Yeah, finally got my power back, but the past few days have been quite the ordeal for me. So throughout the wake of Hurricane Laura, 25% of the population of Louisiana were without power, including myself. And what's interesting is, like, periodically, there were people that had power and then they lost power in my area. So I got to specifically talk about my city, my area up in northwest Louisiana. In case you're wondering where I live in Shreveport, Louisiana. Oh no, I've just outed myself. Let you know where I live. I mean, it's a pretty big sized town. There's a few 100,000 people that live in this town. So, anyways. So, yeah. It was weird because I kept looking online because I still had my phone. At least I had my phone. The internet was down. The main internet, like, the power was down. No fans, no AC. The refrigeration fridge went down. The freezer went down. So, almost all the food I had, we had to throw into coolers. Some of it we could salvage. A lot of it we're just throwing away because that's just one of the things that happens. But apparently, like, my small cluster of homes was some of the first to go down Thursday morning when Hurricane Laura arrived. And it actually was still a hurricane by the time it reached me up in northwest Louisiana. A lot of times when a hurricane finally gets up here, it's usually a tropical storm or a tropical depression. But no. Laura was still a hurricane. So a lot of us were still without power for a few days. And I got to give credit to the hard-working linemen that stepped up and did their part to try to get power on for as many people affected as possible, including myself. And they came from all over the place. I think some came from Texas, Oklahoma, Indiana, not just up here, but also down in South Louisiana, which was hit way worse. And they've been working almost non-stop trying to get power restored for everybody. I mean, there were, trees caused damage, limbs fell over, lines were broken, poles were broken. So it's been quite the ordeal over the past few days to get that power back up. And it sucks for the average person who's kind of helpless. You're sitting there, you take these luxuries for granted, power, electricity, and then it's gone. The first day wasn't so bad because the hurricane dropped the temperatures down to like 70 degrees Fahrenheit in the 70s. And no, I don't know what the Celsius equivalent is, okay? I honestly don't know. I keep meaning to learn that, but I don't know. It wasn't that bad. It was fairly comfortable even after the hurricane left us. But when the hurricane finally arrived, it was raining. It was very windy. I was hearing transformers explode or trees fall. It was wild. I even went outside for a little bit. And it was crazy. And it reminds me of a similar hurricane I experienced 15 years ago. Hurricane Katrina. I was working in another city in Louisiana, South Louisiana, back when I was in radio, the capital city, Baton Rouge. An hour south of Baton Rouge, another city you may have heard of called New Orleans. And, well, also, like South Mississippi, were hit pretty hard by Hurricane Katrina 15 years ago. And the outer band of Hurricane Katrina also hit Baton Rouge, where I was working. I was in radio. And we were up all night doing weather reports on our stations. And we quite literally were crashing on the floor in a sleeping bag and a pillow, taking turns, going through shifts, keeping people informed that were still able to, listen to the radio. So I went through that 15 years ago, Hurricane Katrina. So that prepared me for what to expect. The fact that things we take for granted, these luxuries, electricity, ceiling fans, air conditioning can be gone, including indoor refrigeration and freezers. So sometimes we take things for granted, and when it's gone, it's gone. So I couldn't live stream, obviously. I couldn't make content for like 5 days. It sucked. I was still alive. My cats were alive. My dog was alive. And unfortunately, some people did die. But at least we were still here, right? At least we were still here. The next day, Friday, going into the weekend, it got worse because the temperature went back up into the 90s. And, yeah, it's not just the heat in the south, it's also the humidity combined. So it got very, very intolerable. I mean, I was sweating. I was uncomfortable. One thing that was good, though, was the fact that I had running water. So I still had running water. So I also had a gas-powered water heater, so I could still take warm baths. I didn't want to take hot baths, but I didn't really want to take cold baths either, so I was taking warm baths, with a little bit of warmth to it. All right. Drivers in this town, I swear. But, yeah, I managed to make it through somehow, and it was quite the experience indeed. But if it wasn't for the hard-working linemen coming from all over, from many states, busting their butt trying to get the power restored, if it wasn't for the volunteers, because there were volunteers out, cutting down trees, moving trees and limbs out of the roads, cleaning things up, things would have been a lot worse, and it really showed a community come together. So that was really cool. So, yeah, that's been my experience for the past 5 days. And it really did suck not making content and live streaming. You get used to doing it. You get into this routine. It becomes, I guess, part of who you are. And then you're sitting there not able to make live streams or make content. And you're just sitting there. You feel like you're not really accomplishing anything or doing anything. And I guess it makes the mind start to wonder. And a few times over the weekend, it did wonder. Now, another good thing is I had prepared for previous storms. I had a few things set aside, some additional batteries, flashlight, including a portable fan. This little thing was a lifesaver, by the way. I went through a lot of batteries, but it was a lifesaver, especially like sitting in the daytime, just having a little bit of coolness on my face while drinking some water, and at night laying in bed with this thing. My portable fan, made things a little bit more tolerable. So I'm glad that I had that. So, yeah. I don't think it was too expensive either. I bought it many, many years ago. And I only use it for emergencies. It gets the job done. You just want to make sure you have plenty of batteries for it. It will last a while. But, when you're not using it, definitely turn it off to conserve power. But there was like a few times where I had to replace the batteries because I was using it like crazy. I absolutely was. A few of the linemen actually had exhaustion because they were not used to the weather down here, because some of them, like I mentioned, were from Oklahoma, some of them from Indiana, and I felt really bad for them. Fortunately, we had first responders, medics checking on them. They had cooling stations where they could go relax and have some downtime. And there were some parts of the neighborhood that got power restored sooner. And you're always glad for them, but at the same time, you're always like, okay, when is it going to be my turn? Okay, this block just got restored. That block just got restored. Okay, any day now, any minute now, any second now. You're just waiting for your turn. And what's really weird is the road I live on, the houses to my left, I don't know, it was a day or so ago, their power got restored. And then my house and then the houses to my right, they were still off. So I was just sitting there going like, well, lucky me. How fortunate am I to be that house that doesn't have power, yet the house to my left has power. The houses across the street, some of them had power. The houses to my right were also without power. And one of my neighbors kept texting me, asking me, like, is the power back on? Is the power back on? Because she went, I guess she was crashing with her boyfriend or in a hotel or something. But, yeah, I had to keep saying, no, the power's not off. But the only form of communication I had to the outside world was through my smartphone, was through my ancient iPhone 6. One day I may replace it with an iPhone 8. I need to see if I can actually get an iPhone 8, because I hear those are actually decent. I don't really care for the new ones. They look weird. But, yeah, I mean, the good news is I had gasoline in my truck before there was a gas shortage. I think we still have somewhat of a gas shortage right now. But hopefully within a day or so, gas will be back to normal at the gas stations. So there were a lot of times I was sitting out in my truck going to cool off, getting AC, as well as charging my phone. It was always a struggle. First world problems, right? But I had food. I bought some crackers. I bought some peanut butter. We got some tuna, some canned chicken, a few other essentials that didn't require refrigeration, fortunately. Plus, there were some things that were open because not everything lost power, and things that did lose power were quickly restored. So some of us were able to go and get some food and hang out in a restaurant for a few minutes and get some AC. That was nice. It could have been way worse. Absolutely way worse. But obviously the devastation, most of it was done in the south part of Louisiana. And I really feel bad for all those that were affected. Those that lost their lives, those that lost their homes. It sucks. I mean, that's Mother Nature, though. She has a way of humbling us, of reminding us that no matter how far we come, our technology, she has a way of saying, hey, guess what? You are mere humans compared to my powers. I can whip up a tornado. I can whip up a hurricane. I can whip up an earthquake or a tsunami or a volcano. A drought, a flood, storms. She can do it. So it's always good to remain humble and appreciative of what we have. And that's basically how I feel about all this. Absolutely. So I did jot down some notes, trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. But I hope you all are doing well. This is actually the very first video I've recorded since power was restored. And I wanted to make sure that I at least got a vlog out before the end of the month, as with tradition. So, yeah, it's been past few days. Quite fascinating. Yeah. I'm glad to have my fans and my AC back, I'll say that much. Yes, indeedy. I think that's pretty much it for Laura. I mean, there's a few other things I guess we can talk about. But I am grateful for a lot of things. I'm grateful for, like, having food, having water, having my portable fan, having gasoline in my truck so that I could at least get some AC and charge my iPhone and keep my sisters, keep the world informed as to what was going on. I mean, I know some of those posts, I tried to be optimistic. Some of them, I was getting a little down in the dumps, but hopefully most of you understand. And I'm also appreciative of my friend who's been crashing with me the past few months. He lost his job a few months ago, as a lot of people have. and he's been out of work. So I let him crash in my guest room. And I think having somebody there to endure it with was good. Because at least you're like, hey, I didn't have to deal with this by myself. I mean, I had the cats, I had the doggo, but to also have your friend with you there, because he went out to go grab some ice. And there was definitely times when I could imagine how much worse that situation would have been if you didn't have somebody, whether it's a friend or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a spouse. It would have made that situation even worse, because at least you had somebody to share the misery with. And I did talk to a few people, like, when I was able to. And I was talking to Riley on DMs. Actually, no, I did call her Friday night after she got off work while I was sitting in my truck. And she lives in Puerto Rico, and she really did put things in perspective for me. When Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, it knocked power out on Puerto Rico for like months. And here I was whining about having power out for a few days. I'm like, that's another way of being humbled. Realizing that, yeah, no matter how bad you may have it, you could always be worse. And, Riley and everybody in Puerto Rico that endured Hurricane Maria, it was way worse. I mean, eventually, obviously, they got their power restored. A lot of lives were lost because of that monster. But, yeah, I mean, they had to deal without power for a lot longer than just 5 days. So, it's always good to be reminded of that. But yeah, what else has been happening? What else transpired in August 2020? All the usual nonsense. Let's see, but the bug, social distancing, people still wearing masks, more riots, more lootings, more fighting, more killing. What else is new? Oh, Trump and Biden both got their nominations. Yay. I still don't know if I'm going to vote on Election Day. I can't bring myself to vote for Biden, okay? I really can't. But at the same time, I think some of you know how I feel about Trump. It's just a struggle. It's the devil you know. And I just wish we had an actual legitimate third option. We don't, though. No, Kanye doesn't count. But yeah. What else has been happening? Oh, yeah, the United States Postal Service in my country has been having issues. There's concern about mail-in ballots. And my opinion is this about mail-in ballots. I know this might be a little spicy. Voting is a right, and it's something people should take seriously, people's rights to vote. There was a time in my country when a lot of people did not have the right to vote. Women did not have the right to vote. African Americans didn't have the right to vote. And through suffrage movement for women, the civil rights movement, and ending the Civil War, and giving people citizenship and equality, these rights were earned, the right to vote. And that's something that people should not take for granted. But at the same time, I feel like for the most part, mail-in ballots is a form of laziness. With an exception, if you are elderly, say you're elderly, or you have some sort of physical disability, like you're in a wheelchair or paralyzed, I'm completely sympathetic about that, and you're just unable to go to the ballot box and vote physically on Election Day, those should be the exceptions when it comes to mail-in ballots, in my opinion. For one thing, what Dr. Fauci, he even said it would be okay for people to actually physically vote on Election Day. And those that are whining about mail-in ballots, you still have the ability to go actually vote. Just go vote. So I'm sure there'll be social distancing precautions at the voting places, the polling places. Wear a mask, wash your hands, do what you do. But if you really want to vote, then vote. I completely understand the concern of mail-in ballots being abused. So I'm very concerned about mail-in ballots. And like I mentioned, I'm not really on Team Trump or Biden. I'm definitely not on Team Biden. No, absolutely not. But I'm not necessarily on Team Trump either. Schools are trying to reopen across the U.S. It's a struggle right now because of, once again, the bug, social distancing. There have been some teachers that are going on strike. There have been teachers resigning. Some places are trying to do like online versions of school. But at the same time, I can see how difficult that can be because not every kid has internet. I mean, there's a lot of poor kids out there, a lot of poor families still. I mean, we take internet for granted, a lot of us. But it's not so easy. It's not so simple for a lot of people out there. And not just internet, but you also have to have at least like a laptop or something to do your online schooling on. So that's another concern. I guess sports came back, right, to some degree. Like NHL has their bubble. Baseball is doing their things. The NBA is in their bubble. I think they're in the playoffs. Playoffs? And it's very weird the way it's working right now in the NBA. And because of the riots, I think a recent shooting, a killing. I think it was just a shooting. I think the person that was shot is alive. I think they're just in the hospital. Like, the NBA players went on strike. And then the NBA Players Association decided to resume the playoffs. And with a few caveats, a few conditions. One of them was, I think the arenas, like NBA arenas, will be made available for voting. I don't have a problem with that as long as everybody's allowed to go vote. So that's good. Like I said, I prefer people actually physically voting if they're capable of physically voting. Those that don't, like I mentioned, with a few exceptions, okay, that's fine. But I think there should be like paperwork you have to fill out. You know, checks and balances to make sure you're actually, that person. Because voting can always be manipulated, and that's been my concern for a very long time. It's just like what Joseph Stalin says. It doesn't matter who casts the vote. What matters is who counts the vote. I think that's roughly what he said. But I think you get the idea, the meaning behind it. In a democracy or a democratic republic, you want to know that the votes cast are legitimate votes by actual voters and there's nothing shady going on. No manipulation one way or the other. Even if it's a candidate I don't support, if they win and the voting was legit, then I'm like, that's the power of the people. That's the way it goes. But I find one thing hypocritical. NBA players, yeah, you're all about the voting rights. What about Hong Kong? I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying. You turned your backs on Hong Kong for the yuan, right? For them Chinese yuan in your pockets. You're freaking hypocrites. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You can't just go and say, "Oh, I'm about equality. I'm about voter rights," and then you're like, "Man, Hong Kong what? Hong Kong who? There's nothing going on in China. Forget about it, pal. China's not doing nothing, see? Nothing to the people of Hong Kong or Taiwan or those that follow Falun Gong or the Uyghurs. Nah, forget about it. I'm a legitimate basketball player. I believe in equality and the rights to vote." Hey, thank you, President Xi, for all them yuan in my pocket. Hey, that's just the reality. If you don't like it, it is what it is. I call it as I see it. Oh, movie theaters. I guess this is some degree of positivity, level of normalcy slowly returning. Movies are back in the theaters. Not many, but a few. I think Unhinged with Russell Crowe. It kind of reminds me of Falling Down or Duel. Like, Duel was a Steven Spielberg movie back in the 70s where one dude pissed off a truck driver and the truck driver kept chasing the dude. And so Russell Crowe reminds me, I don't think they ever actually showed the truck driver in Duel. And I believe Duel was directed by Steven Spielberg before he did Jaws, I think, before he was actually big. It was a good movie. And also, like I said, it kind of reminds me of Falling Down, of a dude just having a bad day and then he just snaps. Like, Falling Down, great movie. Michael Douglas, fantastic movie. A couple other movies, excellent, dude. Yeah, Bill and Ted's Like, face the music, dude. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. So, Keanu Reeves, he's back. Bill and Ted. I wonder if it's good. I don't know. I never really was a Bill and Ted fan. Like, one of them I liked. Like, Excellent Adventure was the first one, right? Then there was Bogus Journey. Phone booth, right? That's how they travel through time, is with a phone booth. Obviously, I got that. I think they got that from a certain British long-running TV series called Doctor Who. Instead of a police call box, it's a phone booth that Bill and Ted use. So I wonder if that was any good. Oh yeah, the long-shelved Mutants movie, New Mutants, has finally hit theaters. I hear it's crap, but that thing has been sitting on ice or shelved forever. Traffic jam in Lost Heaven. I'm going to have to go back the other way. But I heard it wasn't very good. I don't know. Were any of those movies good? Did any of you go and see any of those movie films? And, oh yeah, last week, the DC Fandom happened. That was actually, for the most part, a success. And as a DC fan, overall, I was okay with it. I mean, I didn't watch it. I went back and I watched the trailers after the fact. I think it was streaming not this past weekend, because obviously I couldn't do anything this past weekend because of Laura. But the week before. Yeah, the week before, I think I was streaming. But some interesting things. We finally got the Batman trailer. It looks decent. It might be good, hopefully. The Snyder Cut is happening. It's actually going to be like a 4-part miniseries. And it's going to be exclusively on HBO Max, the new streaming service. If it's good, I may have to pick up HBO Max and check it out once all 4 episodes are officially dropped. I wanted to like the Josh Whedon version of Justice League. I think I tried to talk myself into it, but nah, I don't like it. There are moments I'm okay with, but overall it wasn't very good. Like, as some of you already know how I feel about Batman v Superman. That was a complete disaster, and I know it was also directed by Snyder, but I feel like the problem with Batman v Superman is there was too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, you had people at I think DC or WB like giving notes to Snyder, executive producers. I think there were too many cooks in the kitchen when it came to Batman v Superman, which led to its disaster. I've always liked Zack Snyder, by the way. 300, I like 300. I love The Watchmen, and I know some of the old school Watchmen fans are going to disagree with me on this. I know the ending's different. I like the ending in the movie better. I think that makes more sense. That's just how I feel about it. I will say one thing to the credit of the HBO series, even though overall I didn't really care for it. I tried to enjoy it at its moments, but at least they used like the original ending, so I'm sure at least that made fans somewhat happy, with the exception of everything else. And if you like the Watchmen HBO series, that's fine. We all have different tastes. What else? Oh yeah, Wonder Woman 84. That was meant to come out sooner, but the bug kind of delayed that. I'm not really feeling it, to be honest. I mean, I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think she's awesome. Christian Wiig as Cheetah. I don't know if that's going to work or not. We'll see. What else we got? Oh yeah, the next Suicide Squad movie, directed by James Gunn. Of course, gotta love James Gunn. From the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I still want an As Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Okay, I want that. As Guardians of the Galaxy better happen. We better have Thor in the next Guardians film. I want it. I need it. It better happen or I'll be sad. But anyways, they kind of teased. I mean, it's still obviously it's in post-production, but it was kind of like they did a little tease of it. And they also did a little bit of tease of Black Adam, which has been rumored for the longest time. It's going to star Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. He's going to be Black Adam. I wonder if it'll tie into Shazam. You think it would. Or will it be very similar to like Venom, even though Venom and Spider-Man are like arch enemies. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say Green Goblin is Spider-Man's arch enemy. But anyways, I guess they're just giving Black Adam his own origin story, and then maybe eventually they'll bring in Shazam. I still need to watch Shazam. I heard it was actually pretty good. But Dwayne Johnson's going to be playing Shazam. I mean, Black Adam. Two video games. So video games, we'll wrap up with video games. Two video games have officially been announced. DC. Gotham Knights, which is being done by WB Montreal. They did Batman Arkham Origins. Carrick over at ACG, he loves that game. I thought it was okay. The boss fights, I'll give it. I'll give it to WB Montreal. The boss fights were good. The world of Gotham City in Arkham Origin was dead. I get it. That it's just the way it is. I felt like the fighting was clunky compared to that of Arkham Asylum, or specifically Arkham City. What else did I not really care for in that movie? I mean, for the most part, I liked it. There was also some serious bugs at the time early on in Batman Arkham Origins, and maybe that's something that Carrick forgot. But there were bugs. It's probably better now, but early on, there were issues. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't up to the level as the other Arkham games. So Gotham Knights is its own separate game, by the way. It has nothing to do with the Arkhamverse. It follows the alleged death of Bruce Wayne. He allegedly dies. Sure. Right. And so the others in the Bat family have to pick up the mantle. Robin, I believe, I could be wrong, I believe it's Tim Drake. I think it's Tim Drake's Robin. And then Nightwing, Dick Grayson. And then Red Hood, which is Jason Todd. And Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. And that was the first tell for me that this was a different universe, because in the Arkhamverse, Barbara Gordon had already been disabled by Joker. She had already been paralyzed. If you want to know how it happens, read The Killing Joke or watch The Killing Joke. But yeah, she was already in a wheelchair, and she was now Oracle. She was no longer Batgirl. And by the way, WB Montreal did do a Batgirl DLC for Arkham Knight, and I thought it was good. I liked it. I liked the Batgirl DLC. I thought it was good. I liked that one, and I liked the Mr. Freeze DLCs for Arkham Knight. The others, honestly, I didn't really care for as much. They both, I liked them. Those two. And Mr. Freeze's one was really good. There were some feelings by the end of the Mr. Freeze Arkham Knight DLC. There really were. And that's another thing, is it definitely I mean, they're using the same mechanics, obviously, for Gotham Knights, but it's not set in the Arkhamverse. And I think it'll be like a co-op game where you'll be able to play with you and a friend. So that'd be kind of cool. So you have Batgirl, Robin, or Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, Robin, Red Hood, or Red Hood, Nightwing, Red Hood, Batgirl. They may introduce some other ones. I wonder if they are. I wonder if they're going to introduce like other ones, because they could introduce Batwing, who was Lucius Fox's son. Yes, he's named after the Bat plane. It was never really called the Batwing, by the way. I don't think. I think that's what us fans came up with the name Batwing. Michael Keaton's Bat plane from the Tim Burton movie. I still like the Tim Burton movies, Batman and Batman Returns, but I'm more of a Dark Knight trilogy fan. I think Christian Bale is, when it comes to balancing Bruce Wayne and Batman, I think he's done the best job. And Christopher Nolan is a phenomenal director, a great world builder. So I would say that that's Batman at its best, the Dark Knight trilogy. Well, specifically Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Dark Knight Rises, there are plenty of trilogies where the first two movies are great and the third one could have been better. It wasn't bad. Like I said, it could have been better. And I think a big reason why it probably would have been better is if, sadly, Heath Ledger wouldn't have passed away. By the way, that does remind me. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, rest in power, Wakanda forever. The dude was battling colon cancer this whole time. And he was making several movies too, like not just the Black Panther movie and Civil War and the Infinity War and Endgame, but he was working on other projects, and he was still battling colon cancer. That is Chad right there. I mean, the dude has the name Chad in his name for a reason. He was a freaking Chad in life. And it's sad, because even though I thought Black Panther wasn't a perfect movie, it was good. It's not my favorite Marvel movie. I would say Infinity War is probably my favorite. That and the first Iron Man. But I liked Black Panther. I don't put it at the same level as some of the other reviewers do. But you can't deny the fact that Chadwick Boseman was awesome as T'Challa, as Black Panther. I thought he did a great job. He was phenomenal in that role. And it's sad he's gone. But hey, he was a Chad in life. And he provided for his family all the way to the end. So that's something a real man does. You know, a real person, a real human being, a real parent, a real father, a real mother. You can be, I guess you could be a Chad even if you're not a dude. I don't know. Is there a rule against that? You know what I'm saying, okay? I'm not discriminating here. I'm just saying that you can step up and you can step up as a good man, as a good woman. What matters is you step up, and I feel like in his life he stood up. But man, taken so soon at 43 years old, that really does suck. I wonder if he even was able to shoot any scenes for the next Black Panther movie, because I know weren't they supposed to be working on Black Panther 2 before the bug hit? And there was rumors that he was going to have less of a role. And a lot of people were speculating, like, why is he getting less of a role? Like, what are they doing? Are they doing some sort of gender swap? Is the sister taking over? And for the most part, I didn't really have a problem with the sister. I mean, obviously she was the brains. She was the genius. But she's not supposed to be a fighter, though. What are you trying to make her marry Sue? Okay. But I guess now we know if they were actually filming some scenes for the next Black Panther movie with Chadwick Boseman, it's possible behind the scenes he told them what was going on, and they were just trying to get those scenes shot as a means of, you know, a final lasting memory of him. Man, that sucks though. But I mean, such a great example, you know, such a great example. You know, even though you're in that situation, he still kept going till the end. You know, he kept fighting. He kept working. And not once did he tell anybody publicly about what he was going through. He could have played victim. He could have been like, oh, woe is me. No. He just kept going. Like I said, that's a Chad thing to do. A great example, I think, for all of us, I believe. That's how I feel. All right, so let's switch back over to DC really, really quick. Rocksteady, which were the makers of the other Arkham games, like I mentioned, Arkham Asylum. Loved Arkham Asylum. Loved Arkham City. Arkham Knight was okay. I felt like they overused the Bat Tank or the Batmobile. But what that came down to is the fact that the fans since Arkham Asylum were asking for the Batmobile in the future Arkham games. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. That's how I feel about the Batmobile, the Bat Tank, in Batman Arkham Knight. But overall, I did enjoy Batman Arkham Knight, except for the times you were forced to use the Bat Tank. Sometimes it was fun, sometimes not so much. So their new game that they've been working on all these years was not Superman. Angry Joe was very angry about that. I do not blame him. I also have a special place in my heart for Superman. Batman comes first, but I have a little love for Superman as well. I do. And I think Henry Cavill is a great Superman. I really do wish they give him another chance as Superman. I love him as Geralt as The Witcher. So he's a great actor. He's a great guy. Plus, he's a gamer. He's also a gamer. He's one of us fellow gamers. But yeah, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I really don't know how I feel about it. It's a cinematic trailer. It looked good. It looks like it's set in Metropolis. And Brainiac is taking over. And the Suicide Squad's having to kill members of the Justice League, including Superman, who's been, I guess they've all been corrupted by Brainiac or taken over through the nanites. But it's a cinematic trailer. I mean, you can't really get much of a cinematic trailer. And if Rocksteady's been working on this game all along for the past few years, you'd think they'd have some, at least alpha or beta gameplay to show us to go with the trailer, right? I'm just saying. So Gotham Knights comes out in 2021 allegedly. Then 2022, you have Suicide Squad, the video game, and that's going to be a 4-player. And I think it's set in the Arkhamverse. I think they should just not. Just, you know what they should do? They should put Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad in the same universe. There you go. Problem solved. Because, like, Robin uses the Justice League, or is it Young Justice or Justice League he uses? He has, like, a teleport ability. So you can just tie in the Suicide Squad game to Gotham Knights and just let the Arkhamverse remain its own thing and maybe come back to it one day. I don't know. Oh, fuck. We're going down the hill. No brakes. No brakes. But I don't know. I mean, Superman is very, very OP. I mean, he has some weaknesses. He can't see through lead. Kryptonite, various forms of kryptonite, along with red sun energy. But I just don't see how Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Deathstroke. No, Deadshot. I was confused those two. Deadshot are King Shark. Those four? How can those four take down Superman? Alright, how? And at the end of the cinematic trailer, it seems like Superman just rescued a helicopter pilot. But no, he didn't rescue him. He caught him. And he murders him with his laser eyes. Kind of like Homelander and The Boys. By the way, season 2 of Homelander and The Boys coming up. That's right. I'm excited about that. So if Superman, who's very OP, is under the control of Brainiac, and he just killed a helicopter pilot, what chance does the Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, and King Shark, and Deadshot, and Captain Boomerang have against Superman? None. They have none. They're going to die. The premise, it boggles the mind. I agree with Angry Joe. I think a Superman video game would have been cooler. I know it's a challenging concept for a Superman video game, but I think it can be done. I really do. I really do. In fact, I talked about it years ago on Carrick's ACG International podcast, back when I used to be on the podcast with Carrick, Reg, and Silver. And we were speculating about what Rocksteady might have been working on. We thought maybe it's a Superman game. And we were like brainstorming, well, how would that work? And my idea was, well, Lex Luthor would simply just use Superman's weaknesses against him. His goons would be armed with like kryptonite weapons, like red sun energy weapons. His buildings would be lined with lead. Stuff like that. I don't know, it could work. But obviously Superman's a very OP character. I get it. You want to limit Superman, but you don't want to make him too weak. So you have to find that balance. But I think eventually I, too, like Angry Joe, would love to see a Superman video game. So we're a few weeks away from Mafia Definitive Edition arriving September 25th. I am definitely going to be streaming that, baby. Looking forward to it. And like I said, the next vlog is probably going to be me driving around in Mafia Definitive Edition, which is one of the reasons why I decided to do this vlog in Mafia, the City of Lost Heaven. Indeed. So, yeah. And I may be going out of town this week. I don't know. My plans were kind of sabotaged. The wrench thrown in thanks to Laura. My plan was to go down to the beach for a few days, to hang out with my sisters, my brothers-in-law, and my new nephew, because we rented a beach house. I honestly don't know at this point if I'm going to be able to go, because it kind of delayed some things I had to do. But we'll see. To go to the beach or not go to the beach, that is the question. I hope that I still have time and I can use the old brain machine upstairs. You think I would have done that over the past few days. But I was mostly sitting in like heat and humidity and sweating and trying to stay cool. And I did some basic chores around the house. A few projects here and there that I had been putting off, I kind of took care of. I was happy about that. But I don't know. I mean, I'm still on the fence about whether or not I want to go to the beach, or if I'm even able to at this current time. I have to take my truck in to get looked at. Gasoline is another issue because I got a few miles of gas in the truck to putter around in, but I'm concerned about how long the gas shortage is going to last in my area. And you hope that the gas shortage will come to an end soon. Will be gone, will be a non-issue by the time I'm ready to go out of town. We'll see. Plus, like I mentioned, I also want to try and brainstorm and make some content for the gaming channel while I'm out of town, so the gaming channel's not left with nada, jack, squat, zip, zilch, nothing. That already happened this past weekend. I don't really want to repeat that. Even though I can't stream if I go to the beach, I still would like to leave a little some videos for y'all. But anyways, that was August 2020. For the most part, it sucked. Just like all the other months in 2020, the suckage continues. This becoming one of the worst years in my life. I mean, 2016, my dad died. That year sucked. 2012 sucked. 1982 sucked. That was when my mom died. But I would say that 2020, congratulations, you're easily in the top 5 now. You're working on getting into the top 3. So, golf clap, August 2020. So we'll be back in a month from now. September 2020 vlog coming up in a month from now. Did I go to the beach? Did I stay home? What all transpired between now and then? Did things get better? Did things get worse? Were there more rioting, more looting? I don't know. I shudder to think what awaits us a month from now. But hey, in the Northern Hemisphere, at least in North America, the temperature should start to finally cool down in a few weeks from now because fall is approaching. So that's a positive. Yeah. But anyways, that is the vlog for August 2020. Your thoughts, your views, and opinions about August 2020. What did you like about it? What you didn't like about it? And is there anything in September 2020 that you're looking forward to? All that, welcome below in the comments section. And I guess I'll see you in a month from now for the September 2020 vlog.